You're gonna be there tomorrow. Yes.
Yeah, I'll be there early. I got 12:30.
Well, you better be there. And they go through that.
They do.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll be there. But no, I'm serious. If you need more tickets, take two of mine. Fine. That's why I'm supporting it. That's an annual thing, though.
Good to see you. Yeah, I'm doing good.
All righty.
Good to see you. Sorry. Are you
Yeah, big story. Testing, 1, 2, 3. Can you hear me? Testing, testing. Can you hear me? You don't. Testing, testing. Testing, testing. 1, 2, 3, testing. You still can't. Can you hear this? Can you hear me now loud and clear? Hi, how's it going? Should we just use the stick? Yeah. Take it. Take it, leave it.
Yeah. No, they're 2/3. Well, they've got a. Discuss the resolution.
Let's do about this. Test, test, test. Can you hear me? All right, we're all good then. Up or down? Like, look. Up or down? Up. Like that? You sure?
What's up, bro?
Y'all ready? Okay.
And I had a chance to with the.
James, you'll do it, the invocation.
Yeah.
You a part?
Yeah.
Scared? Good afternoon. The special meeting of the Shreveport City Council is now called to order. Councilman Green will give the invocation, and I will ask Councilman Butcher to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Thank you, Lord, for another day, for us to pause and say thank you for all of your blessings that you bestowed upon us. We love you today. We praise you today. We bless your name. We invite you to come into this meeting, that it would be operated decent and in order. And Lord, after we finish, we ask that there would be something to give you some glory as to how great and how awesome you are. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. If you would repeat after me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Councilwoman Taylor.
Present.
Councilman Brooks.
Here.
Councilman Talaferro.
Here, ma'am.
Councilman Jackson. Councilman Green.
I'm here.
Councilwoman Bowman.
Present.
Councilman Butcher.
Here.
The purpose of this meeting is to discuss the bid process of the North Shreveport substation, open an investigation into the land deal, and the process of donating the land back. Do we have any requests to speak? We do. Mr. Willie Bradford. Okay. Mr. Bradford.
Good afternoon. Thank
Good
you,
afternoon.
Madam. Bradford, 3026 Independence Avenue, Shreveport, 71109. Madam Chair, I come today because I saw the agenda and I am not fully aware why we're here at this point regarding this substation issue. I'm aware that years ago the citizens' desire was to have a substation, and that we, 11 months ago, was excited about the opportunity to start that project. So I'm not here to talk about who's right and who's wrong. I'm here to talk about what's right, what's wrong, and how can we reason together to make this project, bring this project in fruition. Like you, we was grateful for the Business Association to donate this property to make it available for the substation. What I have seen that's going on our market, I was proud to see work has started and progress is being made to make that happen. Again, I'm not fully aware of how this donation and the terms of the donation or any stipulations regarding the donation occurred. I haven't read the agreement or the donation terms or anything, but I will say that in my experience, when somebody makes a donation or somebody gives you a gift, it's your gift. And that any provisions to return that gift has to be understood and agreed upon. Now, I know that the substation, the property rather, was given for the purpose, the main purpose of a substation. I'm aware of that. But I wasn't aware of what would be the stipulations on any return of the property or how long And what was the use? The use was for a substation and for public, anything that dealt with public safety, aware of that. But the fact that the city is putting resources, a building on that property, sort of changed the equation a little bit for me. Because if I receive a donation and I receive it as my property and for use for a substation or for public safety use, and we are not all visionaries to know what would happen in 25 years, I feel like it was, and somehow, and this with my reasoning and compromise I'm offering you because I got confidence in you. I know most of you. I work with you, and I know the mayor, and I know we can reason together to give the citizens who provided the resources for this project, give them this substation and this opportunity. So my reasoning is, it just seems to me that if the substation is coming to fruition, and we utilize the, can I get one more second now?
One more second.
Okay.
That's the second.
So Councilman, what's your take on it?
My
Since
take
you were
is,
here during
my
some of
take
this.
is this, I'm sorry, and I tried to time myself, but I got kind of.
Well, you're just used to your, yeah.
But my point is this is my point, y'all. This is my point. My point is simply this, that if the city invests in this property with a building, and it's been utilized for a substation, okay? I don't see no reason that the city don't have the right to multi-purpose the building, okay? If the substation, we don't know the future, but if the substation become a situation to where it may be repurposed and public safety may go in another direction, it's the city's property. It should be given opportunity to repurpose it for whatever property the city, a reason the city seems fit. And only if the city has no further use for that building or for that property, should it convert back to the original owners who made the donation. That's my position.
Thank you
And
so
I
much,
appreciate
sir.
your consideration.
Thank you.
Okay.
Mr. Pete Hayes. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. Peter Hayes, 374 St. Charles Place, Shreveport, Louisiana, past president of the North Shreveport Business Association. I'm here today to talk about, it appears that there's some language that y'all are not happy with in the good faith effort that our association did to donate this property to the city. The association desires to see good in North Market, up and down North Shreveport, and we were very excited about the bond issue that was passed with these substations that would be coming on, and we saw this as an opportunity to help the city and to help that area, and we have been very transparent throughout the entire process. The deed in question was reviewed by y'all and by the city attorney, and it was then proposed through a reading. It was proposition number 104 from 2023 that was read in June and then passed in July, where the city accepted that property. I think there was plenty of time for everyone to review all the conditions within that deed. I am here today to answer any questions, and if we need to come up with some sort of compromise, by all means, we certainly can. I will have to take that to our board and present it. But right now, I really don't understand what the issue is. I believe the city has spent in excess of $250,000 on that site as we speak.
Madam Chair.
Yeah, Mr. Green.
Sir, I can only speak for myself. Yes, we did have the legislation as the property being given to the city. We did not have the fact sheet as to the stipulations. We were unaware of the facts until Councilman Butcher brought it to our attention. So therefore, when you get part of what you're talking about, you know what you all had in mind, but the 7 of us up here did not know.
Can I ask for the minutes from
If you let me
2023 to be
if you
read?
may, I didn't interrupt you. Will you just let,
Okay, I
you
apologize.
asked the question, so I'm just telling you my part. I did not know that if we decide to do something else with the gift that you all gave us, that you would have the authority to take it back. One is, I trust God. He's responsible for every good and perfect gift. When God gives you something, he gave his son, okay, for us. So when you give me something, if right now, if I ask you for that pen and you said, okay, I'll give it to you. Well, my understanding is it's a gift. So therefore, if I want to pass it on to somebody else, if I want to do whatever, then that's my choice. I don't think you ought to give me a gift and then stipulate that if I don't do the this, the that, or the other, it comes back to you. That's all I needed to say.
Do I have permission to talk?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so the deed was presented to the city reviewed the deed, the stipulations were in the deed. Also, I would like to reference the minutes from the 2023 meeting that happened on August the 8th of 2023. And in those minutes, it clearly states that the city was accepting this donation for the purposes of a substation. I do not think that there was any ill will from the North Shreveport Business Association, and I think the city had every intention of taking this property and building a substation, which was a bond issue that was passed through the citizens. Now, if that property is going to be utilized for something other than a substation, then we can take that to our board and look at that and see how we want to proceed. But I really think the $250,000 plus that the city has already spent over the last 12 months in demolition and dirt work and architectural work for this specific site should not be squandered.
Thank you, Mr. Hayes. Are there any more public comments? So, now this council will have the discussion on halting the bid process for North Shreveport. Mr. Hayes, in response to your statements that you've made earlier, let me say as the councilwoman for this district, we were all excited about the opportunity and appreciate what North Shreveport Business Association contributed to the city. But what we were not aware of was the 25-year stipulation in that deed. We never saw the deed. This council never did. No. This council never saw the deed. The deed was signed by Ms. Debbie. Then
No,
it was
signed
signed by you. Then it was signed by the mayor a couple of months later. And then it was presented to this council. The council was never given the choice to say, we want to honor this particular stipulation. And that is where the problem lies, that there are those of you that are aware of this stipulation, but this council was not. That poses a problem for us. Because at that particular point in time, you took our choice away from the city, not you, but the mayor did, took our choice away and the attorney of record at that time by failing to tell us what those stipulations were. There was a signature in February, a signature in June that was already signed, notarized by Malcolm Stantletter, if I'm not mistaken, that had Tori Bradford as a witness and Camille McCall as a witness. We did not ever see the conditions of that deed. And so we still, to this day, have not heard from the mayor as it relates to this property. I have not. I have sent countless emails to the city attorney's office, and not until this point that I called this and say, I want to halt this process until we find out the information, was then that I got a response. That is concerning for this council. We had a very heated exchange yesterday, the city attorney and myself, when it came to this, because the city attorney works for the city. And there was no response, and my council colleagues can tell you that. This is a major concern for us. Not what you all did, because you could pose whatever stipulations that you choose to. But it is our choice to decide, should we receive that? And should we tie $2 million of the taxpayers' money to that? We were told that this property, the only issue that was present was the remediation that needed to take place. And so I was good with that because I understand abatement. The police department wanted this. It was not my first choice, but this is what they wanted. And so with that being said, do not take this council's choice away. And that's what happened. And that is what's concerning with us at this council. Is there any other council member who wants to speak?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. So the reason that I came across this is we asked for an accounting. This is something that's secondary to questions that were asked of the police chief and Ms. Regal and the administration about the total police project as a whole, how much money had been spent, how much bonds had been sold. So when I got that spreadsheet, there was a line item for land purchase. So I pull up, like I'm sure all of us have access to the Caddo clerk's office. I pull it up and I see that there was an active donation and a purchase of the adjacent land. I'm assuming that's where Posey Mart was from what it looks like on the deed. So, yeah, Daisy Day, I'm sorry. Posey Mart used to be somebody else's. Anyway, I pulled that up and I read it, and then I came across the active donation and I read the active donation. And that's what spurred this. This wasn't me digging into anything. I was just looking to see what we actually purchased because I thought it was all one track,
Right.
which it wasn't. Then when we get to looking into it, I asked a specific question before I brought it up to Mr. Basada about the bond because I remember in former dealings with bonds that there cannot be any kind of deed restrictions because I had to go through that on something in Dixie Garden when we built the fire station. And we had to have the language rewritten. And Jerry Jones rewrote this for us about 4 times because of the bond stipulations that the length of the bond could not have deed restrictions on it. So that's when the questions kind of came up. Then I started looking at the time frame of what happened. Y'all signed it, you did, Pete, in February. Then it's set from February to the middle of June. It was presented to us on an agenda with a fact sheet that pretty much, and I was going to bring it, but I forgot to print it out. The fact sheet pretty much just thanked y'all, which I seconded the motion to accept it. It didn't say anything about deed restrictions. It didn't say anything about time. We very gratefully and appreciate it. I do. I mean, I really appreciate this donation. Y'all aren't the issue here.
Correct.
So I know that you can't. No. We'll this is. I'm just trying to lay this out for y'all. We know kind of where y'all stand with it, and we want to work with y'all, but we want to get what we have to say out first. So whenever we saw these restrictions and all this other, the fact sheet said specifically in it that any donation of $10,000 or more has to be approved by the council. In my mind, in the real estate world, you do mortgages and business loans. Once that deed is signed and notarized, it is a executed deed or the act of donation. So you two have notarized it and signed it. So it is a true copy and it's legal. So it's a binding deal. Then you come to us after that and want us to approve something that you've already executed and signed. Now, this is an internal city problem that we're about to correct. So this will never happen again.
Never.
At least under this council, it will never happen again. So the issue that I have is that this was signed. There were things in this deed restriction that we did not know, or donation that we did not know about, and it was already executed, and we didn't even know it. So, but there is ambiguity, and I agree with you. And I'm not a lawyer, but there is ambiguity to the way the ordinance is written. It doesn't say what to do if it's over $10,000. I mean, it doesn't. It doesn't say what the mayor has to do if it's a donation over $10,000. It just says it has to be approved. So that's about to change. We're going to spell it out where this doesn't happen again. Ms. Regal told me, with you standing back here when this was brought up, well, this is the way we've done it all the time. Y'all ratified. It doesn't say ratify in there. It says approved. Ratification and approval are two different things. So we need to not, we're not ratifying. We need to be able to approve it. So I just take things literally. And where we are now, I really don't care. It's not my district. I mean, I doubt that, I think it would be good on North Market because of the location, and it would look nice and pretty up there, and it would help to, to impact the business association and businesses up there. I think it's great. But I also don't want us to, number one, Mr. Posada said we could be breaking the law in so many terms if we did this with these restrictions. Now, it's up to y'all how y'all remove these or change it or whatever. And it's your land. Well, it's ours now, but it was your land, so I understand you have the right to put those in there. My issue and why we're sitting here right now is, and I will 100% back up Councilwoman Taylor on this. She started in an email on Tuesday of last week asking the administration and the city attorney to halt all work on this as far as the bids go. She followed up with a Thursday email, a Friday email, a Monday email, and then Tuesday, Mr. Settle sent me a copy of the bid that it's in the paper that we're accepting bids for this. So I sent it over to Councilwoman Taylor. I called and talked to a few other people, and I said, I thought we had halted this, and we had not. So Councilwoman Taylor sends another email Tuesday afternoon about 5:30, 6, and said, what's going on? I've not heard from any of y'all. So this has absolutely nothing to do with North Shreveport Business Association in my mind, other than y'all gave a gracious donation to the city of Shreveport to improve your neighborhood, and I appreciate that.
Exactly.
This is our problem that we're going to have to deal with. So there's nothing that you can say, Pete, or nothing that you can say, Debbie, or Bruce, or anybody else that's going to change my opinion of the way things went. Y'all didn't do anything wrong. Y'all gave us some land.
Right.
I mean, this is a city internal issue. It has absolute. If this were Southern Trace or Southern Hills Business Association, I don't care who it is, we would be having the same discussion. So the reason for this meeting was for us to get some answers. And yesterday, immediately once we called for this meeting, we started having stuff trickle into us. And that's a problem. It's an open line of communications. The mayor went on the radio on Tuesday after the meeting and said that he's in contact with all of us. And he is. The mayor and I have a good relationship. But when it comes to the critical things that we're trying to be held accountable for by our constituents, I said this to Aaron McCarty on Kill the other day. Y'all gripe and gripe and gripe. What happens if 10 years down the road, Shreveport has not been growing and we don't need this substation anymore? And we decide property standards needs a new building. We decide to put property standards in there. Let's say y'all are all gone. You moved off and, I don't know, Debbie's a city councilman in Bossier. I mean, we don't have any, all this stuff. It's a different group of people. And you take a $1.8 million investment of the city. I don't think y'all would do that, but I don't know what's going to happen in 10 years. But what if we so see that we need to put property standards in there? Or what if so there's just all kinds of issues with this. And I think that the lack of communications has got us to where we are now. And I don't think that it's broken, and I don't think it can't be fixed. But we really need to do some housekeeping on the city's part, because I can promise you, like I told Aaron, 10 years down the road, whenever North Shreveport takes this building back, somebody's going to say, how could the mayor have let this happen? How could that city council have let this happen? And I don't want to, everybody wants to hold us accountable for the sins of administrations and councils from 10 years down the road, 10 years behind us. Well, now we're trying to rectify it, and now we're the bad guys. I don't understand it. So that's what's brought us here. I'm grateful. I appreciate what y'all have done. This is nothing personal towards y'all. This is internal housekeeping that the city needs to take care of. Thank you.
Councilman Telefarrow.
Okay, forget about that. How about this one? Yeah, no, it's not going to work. Okay, this is just this is just for the record. I don't think anything is malicious here at all. I think there was an oversight, and I think that we're learning on how to prevent further oversights. That is our housekeeping issues, I think, as Grayson said, and that our constituents want us to be responsible. Our constituents want us to be on top of things, and sometimes things just, again, without malicious intent, they slip through the cracks, and it just happens, and then we have to pick up the pieces, and then we have to kind of move on with hopefully developing better practices. All I want to do is resolve it. Nothing else. I want to proceed forward. I don't want to confuse this any longer or any more than it already is. I don't want to water it down. I don't want to dilute it. I want to preserve the donation. If changing the language somehow between the two parties satisfies our bond requirements, is that it probably has to do, then let's work to that end. Again, we have a best practices issue that we're going to take care of, but in some internal communications, it just happens on a day-to-day basis, not because of anybody's fault. It just happens. We misunderstand, or we don't present a lot of the facts, and sometimes it has legal repercussions. But again, I just want to resolve it, and I want to proceed forward, and whatever that means, whether it's between our attorneys and another attorney, so be it. But I think that there are certain requirements that are necessary for our bond that have to be in there. And again, there could be opportunities down the road for us to utilize that building in a public safety manner, other than a police department or a police substation. So I think we look at all those going forward. But anyway, I just like it resolved. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Is there anybody else? Councilman.
I just want to clarify one thing. Councilman Butcher said that the mayor was in communication with all council members.
He is not.
From the last Tuesday that I spoke about the bond and the public safety and all of that, I have not heard from the mayor. Other council members said they've been in contact. I have not. I can only speak for me.
I meant that I have not
Yes.
spoke either. I meant that in general,
Okay.
that the communications has been, but when it's come to this issue, and it has not been what it has in the past. That's what I meant. But I have not been in communications about this with anybody since Tuesday.
So allow me to reiterate this. My issue is not with you, North Shreveport. That is not my issue. My issue is with the mayor's office. That's my issue. And there has been zero communication from the mayor's office, and he knows that. And he made a unilateral decision when it came to this, and that is unacceptable. It is unacceptable at any time. When you are going to create a land deal, at any point, there comes full disclosure. Even in the state of Louisiana, I am a recipient of that, of not disclosing what the facts are. You knew it. You can tell us that. The other day, he sat there, it's like, I don't remember that. The mayor is a lawyer. Yes, he is. All of these documents that come across his desk, he is responsible for. Attorney Edwards let us know that he was not here at this time. So Attorney Tucker, at this particular point in time, had to be acting as the city attorney. At not any given point in time were we told about this stipulation. And I need to know, how does that affect us with bond money? And what does that stipulation do as a result of the bond money? And I don't want Attorney Edwards or the mayor to tell me that. I want an outside counsel to tell me what is the process and the procedure, so I will know that we are clear. And that's where I am on that. So therefore, that is why I asked for the investigation on that, because I cannot trust them to be able to tell me the truth as it relates to this. And that's my district. And so I have a responsibility to my constituents and to the city of Shreveport to those that said, we want a police substation. And so if we're gonna do it, then we're gonna make sure that it is correct. So if you wanna call the council the bad guy, I'm not gonna be the bad guy. I'm gonna be the responsible district representative of District A. And he has a responsibility to tell me that, and he took that choice away from me and the rest of this council. So with that being said, I want to call on an open investigation for that. We don't have to vote on that today, and I will speak to you further as it relates to that. If there is nothing else in this meeting, then this meeting is adjourned.
Thank you, council, for everything. I would like to thank the city of Shreveport for Port City 311. That released, I think that's